it seems James Gunn might actually be cooking over at DC. So in this video, we're going to take a look at what else he might have simmering on the stove. Isn't it nice to be excited about DC again? I know some of you are like, Grace, I was always excited about James Gunn's DC. Well, good for you. And I'm glad to join the party. But I really disliked, I just really hated Peacemaker Season 1 from what I saw of it. I really didn't like his Suicide Squad. And I thought Creature Commandos, while it had its moments, was pretty mediocre. But I like Superman so much, move over. I'm excited about this. I'm wondering, how do you currently feel about James Gunn's DC after seeing Superman? All right, so we're going to focus on live action because while Gunn has said that animation will factor into the live action content, Frank Grillo is like, will it? Because he's got like 2 lines in the Superman movie. He got a poster because it pays to be an FOG, friend of Gunn, which we're going to talk about a little bit in this video, but not too much, thankfully. He's getting that under control. And Grillo does have a big role in Peacemaker Season 2. But for the purposes of this video, we're just going to focus on live action to try and instill some order on Gunn's DC. Because right now, it seems like it's all over the place. Like you just say, hey, Gunn, I got a cool idea. And he goes, I love it. Let's do it. And that's a lot like comic books, by the way. You know, like a whole bunch of totally unrelated stories come out every week, and it is glorious. But as we've been discussing, not a lot of people read comic books. So I don't know if I'd go full comic book with Gunn's plans. We'll see how it works out for him. I think comic book fans will be very happy. But the question is, how many normies can he keep invested? We'll see. You know, I'm just saying, when the MCU was successful, it had structure. And now that it's not successful, well, is it a coincidence that it's when it has less structure? I think not. I'm just saying. Again, I'm just saying. And it's funny because it's true. I think structure is important for cinematic universes. How do you feel about it? You know, not in comic book space, which is very small. I'm talking about in a grand, these movies cost like $200 million space. All right, so does Superman make any promises for the near future with post-credit scenes? It does not, and Gunn has specifically spoken to that. Now, it does have 2 little cute buttons at the end, like little teases that are just for fun. And we'll talk about those in a second. But Gunn has said that he learned his lesson about writing checks. Forget that he can't cash. He can cash them, but maybe he doesn't want to cash them. You know, he doesn't like having that kind of, he doesn't like being that committed that far out. Like promising Adam Warlock. And you know what? I thought Adam Warlock ended up okay. I mean, not great. I think Gunn's work on Adam Warlock helped him to kind of do research for the visuals on Superman, to be honest with you, and the flying and the cape work. But I can see where he's coming from. I can understand his point. But I've always said I think teases are very important, but just because it's not in the post-credit scenes doesn't mean that this Superman doesn't have some teases for the future. But first, what are those 2 quick little post-credit scenes in case you're watching this video without having seen the movie? Well, the first one is we get that shot of Superman and Krypto on the moon looking back at Earth. Aww, but we've already seen it. And then also that cute gag about Superman noticing that Mr. Terrific didn't put Metropolis back together just right. It's a little off. The seam is a little off. And I like it. I do think it's adorable when Superman mutters to himself that he can be such a jerk sometimes. What a sweetie. David Cornswet delivered that line perfectly. That's hard to do without seeming lame. But David Cornswet can do it. Now, in the actual movie, we get some teases for the near future. I'm talking Peacemaker Season 2, the Supergirl movie, and Vandal Savage. Is there a Vandal Savage tease? Oh, we're going to talk about it. We're going to touch on all that. And also the other DC projects that are very likely coming down the line. They've either started or, Gunn's mentioned them recently. We're going to take a really good look at that. And also the Batman decision that is weighing heavily on Gunn, and time is running out for him to make it. I think he only has a couple of months. And with all this Superman coverage coming up, more videos on the way, why don't you hit that subscribe button? That way you'll never miss a video from reviews, movie and series reviews, box office reports, videos like this. You just got to click that button down below. That's all you got to do. You just have to click it. It's totally free. Hours of entertainment. So yes, at the very end of Superman, when Lex Luthor gets arrested after the Daily Planet expose, They put him in an armored vehicle, they hit the hood, and they say, take him to Belle Rev. Is it Belle Rev or Belle Reeve? That's the thing with comic books. You're always reading it, so you don't hear it that often. I always used to say Belle Reeve, but I think it might be Belle Rev. Sound off down below. I don't watch Peacemaker, but I might watch Peacemaker season 2 now. But at that prison, a different villain is in charge, Ms. Amanda Waller. I love Amanda Waller. I like Viola Davis in the role. Belle Reeve, or Rev, is DC's super prison, like Marvel's The Raft, and it's home to the Suicide Squad. And of course, factors into Peacemaker, which has the season 2 right around the corner in August. Oh, it's coming up fast. In fact, there are rumors that Lex will show up, at least for a cameo. I think it's very likely he's going to show up, and now I'm excited about it. And he might as well, because Peacemaker was in his movie. Yes, Peacemaker has that cute little cameo in Superman. I'm saying cute in the nice way. I mean, it's like, as I said in my review, Superman doesn't have epic grandeur like we're used to in some DC movies, but it's an awful lot of fun. And it's very comic booky, which again, I like because I'm a comic book reader. I'm very curious how non-comic book readers are going to react to this. But, Peacemaker's doing an interview on TV saying that Superman's holier-than-thou attitude is, makes other heroes look bad. And I thought that worked, actually. I thought that was very clever. In fact, James Gunn is hoping to keep the party going post-Superman. This comes out in August again. Start to establish firmly his cinematic universe and hopefully get more people to watch Peacemaker. I'm real curious to see how it does in the Nielsen charts. I mean, Penguin had a real hard time on the Nielsen ratings. Now, he's in season 2, we're going to have the Justice Gang and their investor, Maxwell Lord, played by B.O.G., brother of Gunn. And Maxwell Lord has just one line in Superman, also on TV, interestingly enough, about how everyone can at least come together to hate on Lex Luthor. Is it Luthor Corps a competitor with Lord Tech? That's very interesting. That's like Jeff Bezos having Elon Musk in one of his jails that he supports. That could be really interesting. I just think that could be fascinating. I'm actually excited about that. Lex does prove in this new movie to be a master strategist and a very effective one. Plus, there are some great Lex in prison scenes in All-Star Superman, Gunn's Bible, when it comes to Superman. Oh, is that Clark Kent? It is Clark Kent, and that makes me even more excited. Gunn is teasing that we'll be seeing David Cornsweat Superman sooner rather than later, and everyone's like, where? And I would be surprised if Gunn sprinkles him all over the place. I mean, I don't know if that will lessen Superman if he's, it's interesting. Do you want to create a tight-knit universe? And Gunn is working very hard to create a situation where the talent is all very friendly, like a real group of pals, until you have to argue about their payment contracts. I mean, it'll be interesting to see. Gunn has always in the past been just a writer-director. He's never been the one directly employing them. So I get a little bit tricky. Hey, pal, let's renegotiate my contract. All right. But yes, perhaps Clark Kent could show up and interview Lex Luthor in prison like he does in All-Star Superman and then have to pretend to be Clark Kent when shenanigans arise. Oh, that was one of the best elements in All-Star Superman. I'd love to see that here. I'd love it. Would he put that in Peacemaker or would he save it for a future movie? But also, considering there's so little Clark Kent in the Superman movie, I would be very happy if this were a development that we saw. So yes, after seeing Superman, I'm suddenly a lot more interested in Peacemaker. How about you? Also, they're apparently adding to season 2 Sasha Bordeaux. Oh my God, if you're like a Batman fan, I mean, they kind of messed up the character eventually, but I'm a big Sasha fan. I got to tune in just to see what they do with her. Although, I think it's a lot more likely, if I was placing wagers, that Superman will show up in the Supergirl movie. That's a movie, and she, of course, shows up in his movie with a cute little, I keep saying cute. I'm sure some of you are like, stop saying cute. It's adorable. What do you want from me? I instantly came on board Millie Alcock's Supergirl after seeing her drunkenly playing around with crypto in this movie. They made it wholesome. What can I say? It was great. And in fact, I like the cameo so much that suddenly Zazie saying she's the fourth pillar for the new DCU doesn't seem so stupid. I'm like, maybe she is. I loved it. Craig Gillespie has a pretty good track record with strong women with major flair. The movies don't make a lot of money. I mean, to be fair, Cruella went straight to streaming. I thought Cruella was good. I would hope Supergirl would be better. to be honest with you. But I wouldn't mind if that was like a stepping stone to Supergirl, right? But I'm a little more nervous about actress turned screenwriter Anna Nogueira, an FOG, friend of Gunn, with almost no screenwriting experience. What? Here's the theory. Like Bob Iger, is Gunn hiring writers where he feels he'll be able to step in and heavily contribute to their work, and they won't mind or be able to do anything about it. I mean, after how much I like Superman, if Gunn wants to write the entire DCU, I don't care. I mean, at least so far. I mean, as soon as he messes up, I'll be like, oh, mistake. But I'm on such a Superman high. I'm like, go ahead. Maybe you can write it all. Although I would warn him that it did not work out well for Bob Iger or for Disney overall. So be careful about that. Hire people with, I don't know. Let's see how the script turns out. Maybe Nogueira is like a really gifted screenwriter who will come out of nowhere. That would be great. This is based on the Tom King comic, which is about Supergirl helping a young alien girl hunt down the man who killed her father. It's very girl power. I get a little nervous in that regard, but it is one of Tom King's best comics. And they're adjusting it. The movie, for instance, will have Jason Momoa in his dream role, finally, as Lobo. And, Lobo wasn't Tom King's original pitch, so it's got that going for it. And Crypto will return! I think I hope after Superman, interest in this movie will skyrocket. I mean, I'm certainly a lot more interested in it all of a sudden. And it's set for June 26th, 2026. That's a great date. 6/26/2026. Right before the 4th of July. So, come out right the weekend before and then be able to play through that, hopefully. Then what's this about Mr. Vandal Savage? Who is Mr. Vandal Savage? Don't worry, I'm going to tell you. Although I will also tell you that I've never seen a comic book really be able to do anything with him. He's an interesting idea, but one that is yet to really be capitalized on. I'm sure someone is like, I read a Vandal Savage comic that I loved. Good for you. I'm very happy for you, but I have not. And I think most people have not. I think recently he's the police commissioner of Gotham City, and it's ridiculous. All right, so at the very beginning of this new Superman movie, on-screen titles reveal specifically where in this new DCU we're entering. And the very first thing they say, he does something with threes. Three this, three that, three that. It was cute. Again, it was cute. All right, but it says that the first metahumans have been on Earth for 3,000 years. Was it 3,000 or 30,000? I think it was 3,000. That's my theory, and that's what I'm running this video based on. All right, and some DC fans are wondering if that's a hint at Vandal Savage, who in the comics is like SNL's unfrozen caveman lawyer or Geico's caveman. But in this case, he's DC's villain, and he's not unfrozen, he just happens to be immortal. So when you take his super strength and invulnerability, and then you combine it with all the time in the world to learn new skills, you get a really, supposedly, again, they've never really done anything with him, but he's supposed to be a highly functioning DC villain. I think it could be interesting to put him in the same story as other super planners, people who have made themselves superior beings, Lex Luthor or Batman. I mean, that could be, I could see that, I was going to say writing itself, but in this case, we'll say I could see James Gunn writing that and writing that quite well. But Vandal Savage isn't the only really old DC character that would factor into this. If we're going with 3,000 years, boy, I hope I remembered it correctly. It's tough making these videos when you've only seen the movie once at the press screening. You're trying to take it all in. But that would be the end of the Bronze Age. And I'm not talking comic books, I'm talking actual history. For those of you who don't know, early comics are divided into the Bronze Age and the Silver Age. I don't like either of them. I like current comics, really. Anything like Frank Miller and after. How about you? Kevin Feige, I think, and Gunn are real Silver Age fans. But, for the most part, that doesn't bother me. All right, so if it's the end of the Bronze Age, that would include ancient Egypt, where Hawkman and Hawkgirl would come into play. The Amazons would also be around, technically speaking. And then, speaking of Batman, there's also Ra's al Ghul, immortal thanks to those Lazarus pits. And while he's not that old, he could be. James Gunn could do whatever he wanted, and I think people would allow that. What is going on with Batman? I mean, there have been virtually no updates for Gunn's own Batman, and it's DC's most popular character. How is this benched? The Hollywood Reporter even called him out on it, saying they think he's bluffing about saying he's working on a script already with somebody. That's what happens, Gunn, when you have a contentious relationship with the press. That was aggressive on the part of the Hollywood Reporter. But maybe they're right. Is Gunn just pretending to work on a Batman project, all the while hoping that Matt Reeves will come around and let Pattinson join the DCU? As I said in my review of Superman, Gunn has created a perfect match in Corn Sweat. I mean, it's ridiculous how well these two match. Reeves has finally handed in his script for part 2, rumored to feature Mr. Freeze, and there is snow at the very end of the Penguin series on HBO. Although, with Matt Reeves and Isaac Gonzalez social media buddies, there's fan speculation that she's not only going to be in this new movie, but might be Talia al Ghul. I don't know. I would hope for Isaac Gonzalez has a great look, but I think she's not a very good actress. But, I mean, I don't want to go into the Joe Manganiello route that really killed Zack Snyder. Casting FOZs or Friends of Zack's. That was awful. So Isaac Gonzalez, I feel, is heading in that direction a little bit. But I do think visually she'd be a pretty good Talia. And Talia usually doesn't have that much to do, except look fabulous. So maybe she'd be great. And by the way, didn't James Gunn say the Robin he wants to start with is Damian Wayne? Son of Batman and Talia al Ghul? I'm telling you, they might be headed towards holy matrimony for Gunn and Reeves. That's quite the coincidence. And Reeves is working on a Batman-related project that isn't Gunn's DCU and an animated project that isn't in anyone's universe. It's in another pocket universe. This is ridiculous. These two should join forces. Now, while the Batman Part 2 script might have only just been completed, Matt Reeves is also busy producing a Clayface movie, again, for, he says, James Gunn's DCU. I mean, it's so weird that he's producing a Batman villain movie that is not for his Batman. That's why, again, I think they're going to merge. But anyway, this movie is fast approaching because it's set to come out September 2026. This is a very low-budget horror movie with great talent. Well, Mike Flanagan, James Watkins is the director, but Mike Flanagan, wildly uneven. But when he hits, he really hits. But it's only $40 million, the budget. What, are they going to use real clay? We'll see how it turns out. But it's very secretive. It's very hush-hush. That's another Batman villain. But I mean, just hush. Just one hush. They really, for a while there, DC was particularly leaky. But James Gunn seems to have plugged up a lot of those holes. I think, again, maybe when you're writing it all yourself for the most part, you can be a little bit more secret. No, but Mike Flanagan wrote this. Although they did have someone come on and do rewrites who I think really has no talent. So we'll see how the script ends up. Will Gunn actually, though, repeat the folly of Sony's Spider-Man villain standalone movies where you have the villains being turned into anti-heroes and not a single Spider-Man, even a variant in sight? Everyone thinks they're going to make another Venom, but even Venom couldn't make another Venom. That can't possibly be right. Maybe Gunn will make a Batman decision by the time Clayface goes into production, and then they can have some kind of Batman cameo, either Pattinson or their new Batman. I mean, because it became a running gag on the Penguin show that Batman never showed up, despite some pretty big things happening. Penguin was so good, though, that everybody let it go. But I don't think DC will be able to keep getting away with that. Do you? Also sometime in 2026. That's exciting. That's 3 DC projects at least for 2026. Oh, they all seem pretty good, I think. I'm so happy about Superman. I'm even excited about the Clayface movie. All right, so we're getting another HBO show, Lanterns, which hopefully will be as good as Penguin. I think hopefully maybe a little bit of a bigger deal, but quality-wise, I hope it's as good as Penguin. Penguin winning so many awards. And with Ozark's Chris Mundy as showrunner and Damon Lindelof of Watchmen as a producer, it just might. I mean, again, Damon Lindelof, like Mike Flanagan, wildly uneven, but when he hits, he really hits. Aaron Pierre as Jon Stewart is a home run when it comes to casting, and a perfect match with David Cornsweet and Robert Pattinson. But again, it's being said that this show also exists in its own space. How many different spaces are we going to have here? This is nuts. As for Kyle Chandler as Hal, again, in comic books, there are a lot of different spaces, but that's a different medium. As for Kyle Chandler as Hal Jordan, well, Hal Jordan fans have made their peace with this casting, but they're not super excited about it. But maybe Chandler will change all of our minds. I'm a Jon Stewart fan, though, so I don't care. I got my great Jon Stewart. Nathan Fillion's Guy Gardner will also be showing up here, which I'm now okay with, considering I think he did a nice job actually in Superman. And we'll see just how far they can go exploring the Green Lantern mythos on a streaming show. I mean, sometimes streaming shows have big budgets, but this first look photo didn't instill a lot of confidence in going full space. I really hope they go at least towards the end full space. We're also getting a new Sinestro, although for as much as the first Green Lantern movie got wrong, like the thing they got most right was Sinestro. A lot of fans even were like, maybe Mark Strong comes back, maybe, right? I mean, James Gunn's bringing a couple other people back. Why not Mark Strong? Well, we hope this new guy's good. Still, this is shaping up to be a really strong show, not just in terms of quality, but Easter eggs and theories for fans to discuss each week, which is crucial to this type of show's success. Finally, let's take a look at a few things that are just a glimmer in James Gunn's eyes, but we can see him in there. Gunn says he's still trying to make the Amanda Waller show spinoff happen, and I hope that he succeeds, because I would really like to see that show. Also, James Mangold, I think, still has a contract to direct Swamp Thing, but he's also supposed to be making a Star Wars movie. So let's just see if and when any of these James Mangold projects actually happen. Why are they not happening? What's going on, Mangold? The Paradise Lost Amazon show is apparently also still in the works, but it's not making any progress. But Gunn did, on his press tour for Superman, agree that Adria Arjona would make a wonderful Wonder Woman. And she would. You know, she's one of my top picks. And with her dating Jason Momoa, who's close with Gunn and Warner Brothers, having appeared in the Gunn-produced Belko Experiment, and currently coming off of the very well-received Andor, her odds are getting better and better and better. I think she's real close to getting that part. But Gunn has said that while we'll be seeing the DC Trinitor on screen someday for sure, not soon. So, you know, we'll see when he actually casts Wonder Woman. It's all about timing. You know, Adria Arjona is the perfect Wonder Woman for right now. So if they cast Wonder Woman in the next 6 months or so, she'd be great. But if they need to cast Wonder Woman later down the line, someone else might emerge who actually, that's why Hollywood's a tough business. That's why that's why actors can't fall in love with a specific role. You know, they just got to see what happens, because timing is a big part of it. But it's very likely, I think, that he'll be doing World's Finest first. I mean, we can all feel it in our bones. Again, he made the perfect Superman to Matt Reeves' Batman. I'm sure this is coming down the pipeline. Again, as I said, I think we can feel it. Gunn is a huge comic book fan, and any DC fan, especially a Superman and Batman fan, loves and respects World's Finest. Even BVS was a take on it. It has a long comic book history, but I would say that Dave Gibbons and Steve Rude's is probably my favorite version, and I think many people's favorite versions. And it is extremely cinematic. You know, that was the one weakness of Gunn's new Superman movie. It's not epic enough, as I keep saying. Gunn would have, you know, sequences already laid out for him in this comic book. All he would have to do is recreate these, and he would be, it would be incredible. And he could do it, I believe. I think he has the ability to make these real, you know, in a movie space. I'm sure. Just like All Star was his, like, as I said, his Bible for his Superman movie, I suspect that this version of World's Finest would be, you know, that for a World's Finest movie. There's also a Deanie Tim movie that fans are familiar with, but it is not as good. Nicholas Hoult, by the way, is already going around telling everybody he'd love to see his Lex Luthor interact with the Joker, which is a clear World's Finest reference. I'm telling you, I think it's coming. Gunn could always jump right to the Justice League, especially because he's already expanding his Justice Gang, adding Metamorpho to the mix. But I think he should go World's Finest next, and I think he will. It's simpler, neater, and again, Gunn's DCU is in desperate need of more structure. It would be really beautiful. It would be very similar to what Zack Snyder did, but the quality of this is so good. Matt Reeves' Batman and James Gunn's Superman are so good and fit together so well. It just seems natural that a World's Finest with the two of them would come next. As long as all we have to do is get Matt Reeves to agree to this. Come on. All right, so, I know a lot of you are against this, but how do you feel after having seen the Superman movie? So how does all of this sound to you post-Superman? Share your thoughts down below, subscribe today, and of course, as always, you can check out some more videos right now.